So when things happen that are not happening as planned and you think this is something bad that's happening right now, I used to get real stressed out then and I would do all my tapping or whatever. But you know what really shifted it for me is one simple question. When it happens, I ask myself, why is this the best thing that could happen to me right now?
Welcome to the Betty Rocker Show, the place to be to nourish your mind, love your body, and rock your life. What's up, Rockstar? Welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really, really excited to dive into today's conversation with the amazing Dr. Joy Martina. Joy is a very dear friend of mine, and I have learned so much from her. I'm so excited for you to be a part of this conversation. She's a psychic psychologist who specializes in high-level intuitive intelligence training for entrepreneurs, business owners, and celebrities. Her new book, The 5 Steps to Strengthen Your Intuition, gives everybody the education and insights that was formerly given only to, masters. Dr. Joy believes that everyone can develop their psychic abilities and fundamentally alter their experience of life. She is so passionate about helping people really strengthen their intuition and access their internal intelligence, that inner guidance system that we all have, helping them get out of stuck states and really inspiring them to use more of their potential to create the life of their dreams. And that's why I'm so excited that you're here today, because these are some of the things that Joy has really helped me with, and I really am excited for you to get to hear from her yourself, because we could all use some of this kind of magic in our lives. Joy, it is so good to be sitting down with you in real time and getting a chance to connect and talk. And thank you so much for agreeing to be here with me for this little chat.
It's my absolute pleasure, Brie.
Yay! Oh my gosh. So for those of you who aren't watching us on video, we are both wearing a shirt that says Goddess, and Joy's says Goddess Gang, and mine says Goddess. And I'm wearing this shirt because Joy gave me this shirt. And would you tell me what your shirt is about and what my shirt is about, why you gave me this?
Well, for me, a goddess is an empowered woman. So it's a woman who's not only standing in her power, but it's someone who's connected to her intuition. So I created this little brand first to help actually girls in Africa to be able to support the Just Like My Child Foundation. But then I started using them for my own private friends to give to women who I feel are goddesses. So that's why you got one. And I've got the Goddess Gang on because I want to get more of us in.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm sure a lot of people, when you walk around and ask you, what is the Goddess Gang?
What is that, right?
And the ones who ask you, you're like, you were supposed to ask me that. And I have to say, we have been connected for a couple years now. And just earlier this year, I had the absolute privilege of going to Italy with you to your amazing retreat. The story behind how that unfolded is kind of beautiful as well. I was actually scheduled to go to another event at that time, and I was feeling like, that event just felt like a lot of work, and I really needed a break. And we were on a phone call, and I said, if I could do anything that I wanted to do, it would be to go to Italy. I've always wanted to go to Italy. And, I've always wanted to go to one of your retreats and one of your channeling retreats. And you said, well, what are those dates that you had set aside for that other event, Brie?
Right? And then they were the exact dates that I was hosting the Oracle training. And then we ended up having that epic journey together.
Epic journey. And, even more beautiful, like the universe just unfolded, and the people who were having the other event said to me, we accidentally overbooked. Can we refund you? Thank you for not coming.
That's divine synchronicity, isn't it?
Yeah, because I felt bad. I wouldn't want to just leave them high and dry, but it was just so beautiful. And I love that every time I'm connected to you, divine synchronicity just sort of unfolds. And you are such a powerful manifester and attractor of all of these graceful things: joy, grace, and ease.
Well, it was a long journey, I can tell you. It wasn't, I don't think I owned my name up until a few years ago, because I was called Joy because my parents were told they can't have kids. And then I was born and I was called Joy. But I didn't feel that way until actually just, I'd say about 5, 6, 7 years ago when I decided to go, I'll call it hardcore spiritual. I decided, I've done so much. I went to university, I did law, I did psychology, I did all these things that I thought I should be doing, but it just wasn't making me happy. And on the sidelines, I would always be exploring all the spiritual stuff. So I'd just study whatever I could get my hands on. And then I started putting them together. And I thought, this is, we're all saying the same thing. This is just one big puzzle, but everybody's approaching it from a different angle. And that actually then led me to this whole journey of becoming an expert in intuition, because I really think that is the missing link that we all need to train more, because we're all experts in our own field. But if we're missing intuition, then that's a connection to our highest wisdom. We just won't know what's right for us. And if we look into the world right now, I think we're seeing a lot of confused, disconnected people. And if only they were to connect back to their intuition and that having that trust in yourself, that just gives so much safety in life. I think we would see a happier world. I really do.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's profound, and also the most simple truths that you're stating here. I mean, connecting to our own intuition. What a profound concept that is.
It sounds so woo-woo for many,
so
right?
woo-woo, but it's not. It's basically, it's like, this is the essence of being a human being. You have this inner guidance system that you're born with. And it's when you are able to quiet the noise around you that you can tap into that. And it's always there. It's always there. It just gets drowned out.
Yes,
by
absolutely.
so many things. And how do you guide people to tap into that intuition?
Well, I developed a 5-step process because I found that, I'm always doing the same things with people to be able to do that. And then I discovered, step 1 is, as you said, you've got to step out of the buzz. You've got to quieten that noise to be able to hear the subtle voice of intuition. But then it's a lot of clearing. It's removing stuff that we pick up in
Let me stop you. Let me stop you. I love the when you do the stuff, and there's a reason you do it. And it took me, like, when we were hanging out together, I realized that you don't always do the stuff. You do stuff sometimes. So what is the stuff when you say it exactly?
So stuff is, for me, all the things we pick up in life. So patterns usually. So we pick up belief systems. We pick up on the conditioning of media, of our parents, of our peers. So we're just being programmed from day one. Actually, we're being programmed already in our mother's belly. So science shows that we have so much in our systems before we're even born. And those patterns keep reacting, and they will be re-triggered in life through traumas and dramas that we experience. And if we're in those stuck patterns, we cannot hear our intuition, and we're actually not living our own authentic life. So a lot of what I do is trauma and drama clearing. So clearing that stuff, clearing those limiting beliefs, and helping people reconnect to empowering beliefs like, I'm good enough, I'm worthy.
So you said clearing a minute ago, and like that's a lot about clearing those limiting beliefs. And I remember how profound it was going to your event and being invited to do that clearing, because I have done a lot of really good deep work on my own trauma history with sexual abuse and physical abuse. And yet, we never really stop doing our work, do we?
No.
There's always an opportunity to learn new tools, new things, and we always want to continue doing this work.
Yes.
Because new things can come up, and
they do.
I catch myself being reactive. No matter how highly evolved I feel like I get to be, I feel this constant wanting to tune in. If I got to reflect on what I just did. I was impatient with that person. That was about me not being self-aware. I wasn't dropped in to myself enough. And it's such a good thing to always be coming back to that practice.
Right. And also to realize that it's never over.
It's never over.
So don't despair. And I think many of our listeners might think, but I've done so much, it should be done now.
Right.
But it's not, because as you say, we pick up stuff continuously, and it's all about being conscious and aware of what's going on. And that is a never ending process. So a lot of what I also do is to teach that joy in that work, that it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be something that, like, letting go, that already sounds difficult, doesn't it? Because if you think letting go, you want to hold on to
action.
it. Right? But if we just reframe that into, I joyfully release, then I can actually create more space again in life. So I think sometimes it's just a switch in your mind that when we activate that, it's easier to step out of the drama and to see the patterns as they unfold and not attach to them, and notice that we're so much more than all the stuff we've picked up.
Yes.
And we can choose new every single moment of the day. We can. I've seen people recover from the most incredible trauma. And then again, I see people being stuck in tiny traumas. So it really is a choice. And when we make that choice and we have the tools to actually do something about it, we become empowered. And that just gives me so much joy. That's what I thrive on. When I see others make those quantum jumps, I do one myself, because we're one, right? We're connected. And I think that's so beautiful to know and realize, because that also takes that loneliness out that many are feeling.
Our energy fields are affecting everyone else's around us. That's why that personal responsibility piece is so crucial.
Yes.
To personally empower ourselves, because that empowers everyone around us. It shows them that we've taken a bold action. We've made a bold choice, and it lets them see what's possible. There's hope. And this is as simple as I love the home workout approach, because I see moms working out in front of their kids, making a choice in the middle of the busy day to do a 15-minute workout from home. And then her daughter is watching her, and I want to copy mom. I'm going to do that, right? Yes. It's so special. It's so meaningful, and it's as much a choice to stop for a moment and think, oh, I release this drama that I'm having in my head. Could you teach us what I know there's more steps, and what are some of the things that we can do when we're feeling that way?
Let's do the 5 steps, so that everybody just has those. So the first one is step out of the buzz. You have to make time for silence every day. So especially with kids. I have 5 kids, right? So 3 of my own. Actually, I have 8 and 5 stepchildren, so 8 children. And I know what it's like to be busy, but I also know what it's like to be a role model. So we as moms can take 5 minutes and sit and breathe. And our children will learn that too, and they will respect that and accept that, and they'll start joining in. So I noticed that with my kids. So step 1, step out of the buzz, make time for silence. The second step is learn to say no gracefully. No is a complete sentence, but you can also say it nicely. You can say no, thank you, or I prefer to do this now. But, tune into yourself and ask yourself, what is the most loving thing I can do for myself right now? And when the answer is say no, then say no, right? The third one is forgive and release joyfully. That was all about, we don't have to hold on to this drama. We can actually let it go very easily. And I'll show you a great method how to do that. When we've done that, then we get to step 4, and that is being able to own our desires. I think many of us are actually scared of owning our desires because they seem too big or too audacious, or who am I to want that? So there's a lot of stigma around desires, but I say desires are really that rocket fuel that will get us where we want to go. And then we don't need willpower, because when we're fueled by our desires, it's that passion in us that gets us up in the morning and does the most impossible things with a joyful heart. And then step 5 is tuning into the universe. We're like radio with senders and receivers. So when we have clear intentions and we know how to set clear intentions, we can tune into any frequency on this planet and actually learn from it. So those are the 5 steps that you want to take to strengthen your intuition. And for every step, there are different tools and different practices that I share in my book, and I share them online also for free.
Yes,
so people can actually do that at home.
Tell us the name of your book again. It's going to be in the show notes, but we want to hear it too.
It's How to Use Your Intuition to Change Your Life.
I love it.
It's a quick read as well, because I really wanted to make a book that's not going to just be sitting on a shelf, but actually it's a workbook, so you can use it, and there's tons of free resources in it. And people are having great results with it, and it makes me very happy.
Yes, the tools I learned from you have been incredibly impactful. And it's just these small pieces that you pick up along the way that suddenly become your day-to-day life. And you look around and you're like, why is my life so much different than it was a year ago? Oh yeah, because I have now extra tools in my toolkit to handle the things that come up.
Yes.
Life doesn't necessarily get easier as we go through it. We just get more capable.
I agree.
And handling
and more resilient, and we get more adaptable, and that's how we survive and thrive, right?
Yes, 100%.
So I think, how about the first tool that we could teach everyone is a switch, because it's just so simple.
Yes.
And it's a tool that everybody can use with their kids. I was going to say animals, but that doesn't quite work. But I have worked for my animals. So just know that, because we're all one. If we have pets, we can actually work for our pets by doing the work on ourselves, but setting the intention that we're going to do it for someone else.
Well, and our energy, again, like how we are the animals, kids, anyone around us, they pick up on our vibe very, very much. And if I'm stressed, and I don't even realize that they're stressed too.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about my puppies, of course, for those of you who don't know.
Who wouldn't know that you have these beautiful puppies?
They're so good. Yes.
So we could do that.
Let's do the switch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the switch is a simple technique that my husband, Dr. Joy Martina, developed. He's an MD. And you basically take a fist and you punch it into your open palm of the other hand. And then you switch it. So you alternate between your left and your right hand by doing this karate chop. And you want to do it as quickly as possible because you're doing many different things here. You're activating all the acupressure points in the palms of your hand. And there's a really important one out here on the ridge, the side of your hand, which is directly connected to your heart. So when we pound these acupressure points and we alternate between left and right, and we take nice deep belly breaths, we're already syncing left and right brain hemisphere. We're also activating these acupressure points and de-stressing the body. But now we're going to do something even more powerful. Say we've just gone through our day and something really annoying happens. Somebody really triggered us and we're feeling maybe anger or rage or something inside of us. We could say to ourselves, while we're doing the switch, I love and accept myself, even when I'm feeling angry right now. And then breathe. And I love and accept myself when I now choose to release this anger and step into my power of peace. I am at peace. And then just take a few breaths and notice what is different. And you will notice when you do this that, say, if you give your stress level a number from 0 to 10 when you start, say the anger was at an 8. If you do just this simple move, take 3 deep breaths, say your magical incantation, you will bring it down quite some notches. Some people go right down to 0 because what you're doing is you're addressing what is. You're not denying it. You're not suppressing it. You're not pushing it anywhere. And you're also not aggravating it. You're saying, okay, you know what? Even if I'm angry, I love and accept myself. That's not going to change. And I love and accept myself when I now choose. So I'd love the listeners to write this down. Say, I choose more often. Not I wish, I want, I would, but I choose.
I try.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that one, right? So instead of all that, say, I choose, because that is you stepping into your power and actually, claiming your responsibility as a creator. So that's the first tool I think that everybody should be doing whenever they catch themselves off key, feeling less than happy.
Oh, you are just giving us so much here. Last night, I got so angry. And why is it that we judge ourselves so harshly for anger?
Well, we have an inbuilt judge in our head and know that judge will always be there. And it's actually the reptilian brain, because our reptilian brain, the oldest part of our brain, is the one that has to judge, is it a friend or an enemy? And if that brain is the one that we're using most instead of our newest part of the brain, which is the frontal cortex, right, the part of our brain in the front of our head, when we're working from our reptilian brain, we are going to feel triggered the whole time because it's always scanning for potential danger,
right,
and not seeing the bigger picture. So that's just a natural way that our brain works, but we can retrain it. So we know that the brain is so formable, right? We have this neuroplasticity that we can learn new habits. It just takes a while.
Well, and that's why those powerful words that we're saying to ourselves and cultivating that breathing activity and the switch. I love that with the acupressure points on the palm of your hand and the side of your pinky ring finger and side of, I'm not sure what that exact piece of your hand is called, but I got so angry last night because I had the privacy sign on my hotel room door, and these security guys came and banged on my door like policemen, and I was sleeping, and they woke me up and they had to deliver a package so urgently that I hadn't even ordered. And I was so, I took the package, I went back into my room, and I was just fuming, Joy. I was so angry.
I feel you.
And I actually used, because I wanted to report this to the hotel because I felt like they had sort of breached their protocol. But before I did that, I wanted to calm myself down.
How smart.
Because I knew that their intentions were not bad. No one in this situation had bad intentions. And it just happenstance was just a bad sort of thing that happened. And I had a reaction to it, which is very human, especially if you've been woken out of a deep sleep.
Absolutely.
So I used the tapping that you taught me.
Good.
And I used some variation of the I love and accept myself. And it really, really brought me into like a calm state. I almost didn't even call the hotel.
That is so nice.
But of course I had to. I had to say, because I worked in the hospitality industry for 15 years and I was just like, this is
just not right.
And I was worried it would happen to someone else, another guest who was sleeping, because they had quite a lot of packages. So I was trying to look out for others, but I wanted to be in a calm state to do so.
Which is so essential, because what happens if we're not? We're just going to continue that aggravation, right?
That's
and then
right.
the next person's going to get triggered, and then it's a
And I would have passed it on
exactly
to the nice, kind hotel manager who takes crap from everybody at the hotel. And he could have had just a really bad conversation with a crazy woman who was infuriated. But instead, he had a really pleasant conversation with someone providing feedback so that they could improve their process.
I like that.
Thanks to you and your training. So is tapping also a part of the clearing, or is that part of another step?
I use everything in anything that I do, because I think I've developed a very eclectic method by just pinching from all the things that I've learned and putting them into one big toolbox. So yeah, I use a lot of tapping, a lot of incantations, I call them. And, they're different than affirmations, because you were talking about that inner critic. And the thing is with affirmations, if we're just saying things to ourselves in the mind that are not true to us, say I'm struggling with weight loss and I'm 20 pounds overweight. If I'm saying to myself, oh, I'm slim, your unconscious knows that is not true. Every part of your body is saying, no, that's not true. What you're doing then is you're actually aggravating an internal conflict. You're adding to it, because you're going to create even more stress inside of your body. And that is why with the tapping and like the switch that I just taught you, you're saying, I love and accept myself, even if I'm overweight, even if I'm angry, even if I'm whatever, right? Sad. And I love and accept myself when I now choose. So that's kind of
the pivot.
It's that. And because our conscious mind can only focus on very little, so only 126 pieces of information a second.
Very specific number.
I know. And that's what you can consciously focus on, right? And that is basically, it's a maximum of 2 people speaking. That's already totally maxed out. That's why when 2 people are talking at the same time, we can hardly understand them.
Right.
Now, but our unconscious mind, which is like the huge iceberg under the water in our brain, so it's like almost 88% of our brain is actually the unconscious mind, that has a processing power of 11 million pieces of information a second.
Wow.
So unconsciously, we're constantly bringing in information, receiving, sorting it all out, but we're not consciously aware of it. So when we're doing the switch, we're using that to our advantage. We're focusing the conscious mind on, hey, I love and accept myself, and I'm tapping, you're maxed out. Your unconscious mind then totally opens up. So then all this goodness comes in, and you're literally reprogramming your unconscious mind. Now, it takes 90 days to create a habit. So if you, for instance, someone's struggling with an anger issue, it'll take 90 days to really work that anger issue out, because that new habit just takes those days to be able to be implemented in the brain. But you can do it. And that's where I love the concept of brain training. And I've developed so many guided meditations and brain trainings, because I think it's the most effortless way of learning, because we can pop them on at night, use them as a sleep program, and your unconscious mind is being bathed in positive, information rather than...
I love the idea of the sleep training. Don't you have a sleep training for weight loss?
I do. I wrote a book called Sleep Your Fat Away. Actually 8 years ago.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. I loved it when I wrote it, and I was so enthusiastic about the program, because I knew that this was the missing link that at least I saw in all weight loss programs. They were missing the mind piece. And I learned from some amazing hypnotists, and I put the virtual gastric band in there, many great tricks to be able to conquer the mind and help us actually start listening to our bodies. But when I developed it, I did not yet realize how powerful it is, number one. And number two, how in tune it is with everything else that I do. Because many people who have worked with me said, well, now you're doing weight loss? That's so unspiritual. You shouldn't be doing that. And I said, A, that's not true. And B, it's deeply spiritual, because when we start listening to our bodies, we're doing something that's actually the same as listening to our intuition. We're listening to our body's intelligence.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
And that is crucial to be able to know what's right for me, to know which exercise is right for me,
which food is right for me.
Which people should I be hiring or firing
or friends with.
Yeah. Who should I surround myself with? And that kind of tuned inness is something that actually started 8 years ago and then developed into all the oracle trainings and all the connections to the highest selves and all the other fancy stuff that I did. But it actually started with a weight loss program.
Wow. And it's really special that you, as a spiritual guide and teacher, are talking about the fact that the body, it's not some other. There is no separation, right? And this is what I feel as well. And I feel like we're just sitting on two halves of a yoga mat, which we are in this moment. Yeah. And we're just talking about the same thing from two different parts of our yoga mat. And that is exactly what it's about. So, loving yourself and connecting with yourself is all of the things at the same moment, and you can focus in on any one of these pieces of your intuition, and it all matters. But I wanted to just go back to what you said about 8 years ago. Is there a story there from 8 years ago to now that you feel what made you become an oracle? How is this? And many people don't know exactly what this is, and I think we feel like it's sort of like some other thing that. You might have oracle cards or, something like that. But how did you come to this? And what is this?
Well, it was a huge life crisis, actually. My then husband had left me, and I had to start out new. And I just started my own business, which at that time was a beauty and health clinic in Salzburg, Austria. And I did all the spiritual stuff on the side. It was kind of my best kept secret, but I officially was a beautician and I was a stylist, a makeup artist, and I helped people just become beautiful on the outside. But my true passion was actually helping them on the inside. And I constantly was seeing that all skin issues, all these self-confidence issues, I was not being able to really address in the work that I was doing. So that when my husband left and I had to restart my entire life, actually, this is longer ago, but 8 years ago was when I was finally on my own 2 feet, right? I decided now I'm going to do what I really care about. And then I met my now husband, who's a medical doctor and spiritual teacher himself, and I did his training, which was then called the Omega Health Coach Training, which is all about how to help heal your own body and then coach others to do the same with methods like tapping. And he put together a whole amazing toolbox for this. So I did this training and I decided, right, this is my thing. I need to do this. It's just making me so much happier than just painting people's faces. So I started on that path and then discovered that I seemed to just know things ahead of time. And this was not something that I had ever had a desire for. I was not, it wasn't a desire to become a channel. It more just happened. So what happened was that I was doing this training to learn how to connect to your highest self. That's what the training was called. It was called quantum hypnosis. And it was taught by this Swedish hypnotist who's now passed away, Dolores Cannon. And I was doing her training in Sweden. And then when I had my highest self connection, suddenly this voice started speaking through me. And I think, whoa, either I've completely lost it now or this is pretty amazing. So I chose to think it's something pretty amazing. And it was the beginning of becoming a channel. So an oracle is someone who is able to tune into different frequencies and information in the planet and allows her body and voice to be the channel for that information. So what I do is I connect to my theta state of mind, so a very relaxed brainwave state, which I can slip into like that nowadays, but I couldn't always because I used to be a terrible insomniac and relaxation was the last thing I could do, but I trained myself, right? So I trained my brain to be able to relax at will. And when I do that, I set my intention to the highest frequency or a very specific frequency that I want to tune into, and I allow it to come through me and it does its thing. So it'll give messages. It's, the oracles of Delphi many, many thousands of years ago.
Yes, I think
right?
Many of us know of this.
So there have been these oracles, these guides around for many, many years that have always been usually women, priestesses, who were trained in getting themselves into altered state, brainwave states. They would either do it through dancing or through some herbs or God knows, they'd get themselves in that state and then they would bring messages from the gods to the people, helpful messages. So I discovered that, wow, this is happening to me. And these messages were very precise. This was not, oh, you must go and love everyone. That might have been there. But they were like, you need to change the roof of your house.
Wow.
You need to do this. You need to do that.
Wait, tell me more about the roof of your house. What happened there?
That was a really freaky one. Well, I was channeling, and in channeling our guidance, which is called crystalline. So that's the main guidance that has decided to guide my life, or I've said yes yes to them guiding my life, said, you need to change the roof of your house. Now, there was nothing wrong with the roof of our house. It was a standard, pretty new roof. But they said, nope, you need to change it to a steel hurricane-proof roof.
So specific.
That specific. And my husband and I were saying, okay. There was no more information why. But because we've had so many experiences where they were just so dead on every time, we said, okay, we better do it. So we looked into it, hired a builder, and they started redecking the house.
I can't imagine that this was an inexpensive project.
Thank you. Yes, it was not. And it was not, we didn't have the cash lying around. So it was like, oh my God, here we go. But when you've jumped so often, you just develop that unshakable faith. And I just know I need to do that. So we go ahead and we do it. And then my husband and I went on this business trip to China, and we were teaching in China. And then I think it was a week in, my mom, who was watching the house and our daughter and the dogs, calls and said, you will never believe what happened last night. Last night, they had a really, really bad thunderstorm in Asheville, and lightning struck a house.
What are the chances?
Mm-hmm. And the lightning not only struck a house, it struck the chimney, and then it came through the chimney, and it stood like a huge fireball in the middle of our living room. So we had on the couch where my mom and Grace and the big guard dogs, they were sitting on the couch because they were so scared of all the thunder. And all of them were only about 3 feet away from this gigantic fireball that came. It was standing electricity. And then it stood for like 2-3 seconds, and then it disappeared. Now, here's the thing. Not only were we extremely lucky that they weren't killed, right, that they were 3 foot away, that they were able to see it, but also the builder told us if we hadn't changed the roof of our house, the entire house would have burnt down. And when you look at the roof now, you can even see the dent in the metal that the lightning took. So
I'm having chills right now.
I get it every time I tell this story.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So those kind of things those kind of things happen. That doesn't mean that lightning is going to strike, but it means that when we trust our intuition and when we're tuned into it, we will get that kind of guidance. We will get that kind of warning. And for me, it's become the most valuable tool that I could ever have, because finally I know what to say yes to and what to say no to. Because I feel I at least was really confused by all the different messages, all these different people telling you all these different things you should do. And then you you lose track. So for me,
you lose yourself.
You lose yourself as well. Yeah. And you lose confidence in yourself. You're so, and that's what I care about so much. That's why the empowered woman, right? Or the empowered child or the empowered guy. I want to give people that power back and help them realize that they have it. It's there all the time. The moment you start tuning in and you trust that, it's like a muscle that gets stronger and stronger.
That's right. And I always, whenever I'm with you, I know that I can always trust you to tell me the truth. The truth about how you feel, the truth about, what your body is telling you. Like if I were to have you over for dinner, I would know that if there was something that I served you that wasn't in alignment with your body, you would just say no, and there wouldn't be a thing about it.
Yeah, I love that about you too. That's the great thing about our friendship, isn't it? We know we can just be totally blunt with each other.
100% who you are, because not only do I love and accept myself, it gives me the grace to love and accept you exactly as you are. And that is a profound thing, especially as a leader of others, because we have to meet people where they are at. We cannot ask people to become something else to learn from us. That's ridiculous.
No, it's not our job,
see this out there in this guru space a lot. And there's a lot of judgment that comes in from that. And why I wanted to learn from you is because I feel like I was accepted and loved where I was at, and you gave me new tools to love and accept myself. And one of my favorite parts of the whole Italy trip was these 3 words that I still keep them with me, like joy, grace, and ease. And we joked about these 3 words because your daughter's name, of course, is Grace, who I am such a huge fan of. I adore this
That's so
child.
mutual. She's obsessed with you. She tells everybody about her brie.
I love her so much. And your Joy. And I got to be Ease because I'm Breeze. I'm the breeze.
That's right.
So our sisterhood, our friendship, and the three of us were Joy, Grace, and Ease together. And tell me a little bit about these words and how important they are.
Thank you. Well, they actually tune into or tie into that whole intention setting. So I feel something that we all need to do more often is be conscious in our actions. So that means that whatever we're doing, we should have an intention of why we're doing that.
Yes.
Whether it's cooking a meal or it's a trip that we're going on or a conference that we're going to be attending. So often we just kind of stumble in and then just kind of do whatever we do without having a clear goal. But we know how important it is to have clear goals. So I think another tip I'd like to share with our listeners is how to set a clear intention. And then that grace, ease, and joy will make sense too. So when we want to set an intention, we want to get our brain in a good state, in a relaxed state, so that we can access the unconscious mind, so it can help us. So here's a really cool way to do it. So all listeners that are not driving right now could close their eyes, take a deep breath in and out, and then you roll your eyes up as if you're looking through the crown of your head, and then keep your eyes rolled up, and then say inside of yourself or out loud, even if I don't know how to achieve the best outcome in this conference, in this business deal, in this relationship, whatever it is, even if I don't know how, all I do know is that it is so now, and I am fulfilled. Keep your eyes rolled up and then say, I delete all sabotage within me that could stop me. And I download everything I need to achieve this goal with grace, ease, and joy. Thank you. And then you can relax your eyes, relax your mind, take another deep breath in. You could now bathe in that gratitude. That's a great power of manifestation. Or you just come back into the here and now. And now I'm going to dissect it for you so you know what you've done.
Oh, I just love the download, delete. That's some of my favorite, unforgettable words that I hear in my head when I use them. Tell us something more about them.
So we're not only setting a clear intention, we're saying, even if I don't know how to achieve this goal, so you're stating what you want, that's the first step. But you're also acknowledging the fact that you don't know how you're going to do that, because you don't. There's a bigger part of you that's going to do that for you, even if you consciously think you can control it, or you can't. So you're saying, even if I don't know how, all I do know is that it is so now. So that now is bringing it right into this present moment. Then by saying, I delete, you're acknowledging that you will have sabotage within you from your unconscious mind that might not want you to be successful or want you to putting yourself out there, because remember, it's controlled by that reptilian brain. So there you're saying, I want to remove all of that. And then I'm bringing in, that's a download, the resources I need to achieve this goal. Then comes the magic formula with grace, ease, and joy, because we might achieve that goal by working really hard or sacrificing ourselves, but we don't want that. We're saying, no. We're in the quantum timeline. This is Aquarius. We're going to achieve it with grace, ease, and joy. And that way you're giving over the power to that divine guidance, to the universe, whatever you want to call it. And you're allowing that to guide you to the best outcome, accepting it might be something even better than what you've just put out there. But you've put your conditions in there, and you're not saying not at every price.
No, exactly. And I think back to, this year in particular for me has been one of the more difficult years of my life, and also one of the most amazing years of my life. And I feel like when I think back to JJ's New Year's Eve party, and the very first New Year's Eve party that we met at a couple of years back, you did a very special manifestation ritual that I remember just really connecting with you because of that. And then it was this past year, JJ invites all of us to have a word that defines
was your word?
Year. You don't remember?
No, I know you told me, but tell me.
Joy.
And you know what mine was?
No.
Ease. No, seriously, we should look it up, because those baubles still exist.
Oh my gosh. This is so amazing.
So I remember you telling me, Joy, now that you said it, I remember that, but wow.
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps just remembering this.
So manifesting you into my life, and also all of the tools and guidance that we have been given as two beings who want to share this time together, has actually helped me have a greater impact on everyone I serve, and has helped me really navigate some of the challenges that I've faced this year. And it's just so profound to me, this joy, grace, and ease. And just thinking about it, I mean, I'm getting tears in my eyes just thinking about how beautiful life really is, how incredible it is when we can trust ourselves and trust the process, and how that brings us into our flow. And what do you think about flow?
I was just reading a whole book about flow, because it was actually the first mentioned by the Russian psychologist Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi. He was the one who defined flow as a state. And the best definition that I love is flow is a state that most people prefer to chocolate after sex. Can you imagine that? It's like the ultimate,
the best,
right?
Yeah.
And flow is that state when we're so immersed into a task that's so closely matched to our skills, but we might not quite yet do it, but we can almost, that we completely forget time, we forget everything. It's an effortless movement. And I think we all need more flow. And that flow can only happen when we're tuned in, because it's not going to work with willpower. It's not going to work when we're resisting and judging stuff. It'll only work when we're allowing ourselves to drop into that space. So flow.
It's not about force.
No. Flow and force are two opposites, I would say.
Right. They're important opposites, right? But that's so beautiful. Oh, joy.
The other thing I was thinking, which I'd like to share, what switched around, let's call them crises or negative situations for me. So when things happen that are not happening as planned, and you think this is something bad that's happening right now, I used to get real stressed out then, and I would do all my tapping or whatever. But you know what really shifted it for me is one simple question. When it happens, I ask myself, why is this the best thing that could happen to me right now?
Oh my gosh, what a paradigm shift.
Because when we ask that question, our brain has to come up with an answer. So even if I'm feeling super miserable, or I'm in a room where I'm thinking, I do not want to be here, I will ask myself empowering questions. Like, why am I the luckiest person in this room? Why is the best thing? Is this a blessing for me? And when we do that, our unconscious mind will give you the list, and it shifts our way of thinking. Because you see, we all have different biological set points for happiness, and we've all been trained in different ways of how to use our brain. But our brain is actually trained to find the negative. But when we shift it around like that, we're more aware of all the goods that is there, because there's always good in every single situation.
Every single situation. I always love, I feel like you're looking for the gold in every possible moment, and do you know the reset protocol from 40 Years of Zen? Have I ever told it to you?
No, but you've told me you love it so much.
And it's very reminiscent of this, but there's, the very first step that you do after you've called up the issue or the problem or the person that you're feeling something strongly about is you look for the gold in the situation that occurred. And sometimes it's hard to find the first time. So the next thing you do is you try walking in their shoes.
Yes.
And I love this compassion, this empathy piece, because that's so powerful and important.
That's exactly what we do in that step 3 of forgive and release
Exactly.
joyfully. When we're able to see that grievance, that bad guy as our best teacher, and to see how they actually made us stronger, how they helped us realize something, how we got an insight, we got that blessing. Then anger and holding grudges, really, they don't stick anymore, because you have no more reason for it. And if I look back at my big dramas in life, like, I don't know, men usually, or things like that, where I felt so hurt, it was the best thing. Even though it was painful in the moment, but the moment I was able to see the blessing, it was actually a liberation. It was always something that helped me elevate my state. And it's just sometimes often needs a friend as a mirror to mirror it back to you, and a strong community. That's what I love about what you're doing, is you're also creating this really strong tribe of people who all are empowering each other. And then when we see someone else do something that we thought was impossible, suddenly it becomes possible for ourselves. And I think it's this kind of community that we all need right now to combat that loneliness and that, trend for depression that we're also seeing.
Yes, and I'm so grateful for, we speak about the evils of social media and how, the world's falling apart with all this social media, but also social media is so connecting. It's all about how you choose to use these these devices and these tools that are available to us at this really special time in history. You can choose to see it in a lot of different ways, and it's really about your intention with the things that you're using that makes those things accessible to you. And so creating a community like we both are, you're creating this worldwide community, I'm creating a worldwide community of people who are being empowered with tools so that they can be the creators of their own lives through the challenges they face, having coaches and guides to support them along the way. And this beautiful flow of empowered work that we do is it has an effect on everyone.
Yes,
absolutely everyone.
Yes.
There's a quote by Seneca. It's from some writing that he did where he says, ignis aurum probat, and it's just part of it, but it means fire tempers gold. And he's talking about the challenges, the fires that we go through that temper our gold, that make our gold, the gold that is our soul, the gold that is our life, the gold that we find in situations that strengthens us. There's this other thing like, where the cracks are, where the light gets in, that's what makes us stronger. That's where the light comes in, is through the cracks.
It's roomy.
It's roomy, yes.
Right? And that's the fascinating thing. When we start studying all these amazing teachers, they're all saying the same, coming from a different direction.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. And that's why for me, intuition is much less woo-woo than common sense often, really.
Yeah.
There's a little common sense here.
Yeah. I really, really love that. And is there anything that I haven't asked you yet that you would like to share? Have I asked you everything that you feel called to share?
I think the only thing I'd like to mention is that a lot of times when I'm teaching self-love and putting yourself first, owning your desires and all that, usually some person will stand up and say, that's not right, that's selfish, because I can't be happy if someone else in the world is suffering. I can't be happy when my child is sick. I can't be happy when my husband's struggling. And the problem with that thinking is that we're dragging each other down. I know that we've been conditioned not to put ourselves first. We've been conditioned to serve others first, especially for women. But I'm really here to say that it's a myth and it's just not true. Because what are two unhappy people going to do together? They're going to just gloat in their misery. But if you bring in a joyful person, that joyful person might trigger the angry person. But that joy is contagious. And that joy will actually uplift the other person if they allow it, because the higher frequency always wins.
Always.
So know that, and know that every single one of you is worthy and deserves to be happy. And it's your choice to go and pursue that happiness. You have that birthright, but the actual pursuit of it is something you're going to have to do yourself. But go out and do it, because we all need you to do it.
Yes, we do. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Beautiful last words. And we're going to put all of your links in the show notes, but where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Well, I think the Joy Tribe on Facebook is a really, really easy way to connect with me. So if you tag me in a post there, I'm in my tribe every single day.
Yes, you are. I'm in the Joy Tribe.
It's such a beautiful international tribe now.
Yes.
So yeah, post there and stay in touch with me. I'd love to get to know you.
Well, thank you so much, Joy. Thanks for being here. Thank you for bringing your amazing energy. And thank you so much, Rockstar, for being here with us, listening to this amazing conversation. I hope that you got some great insights out of it. And stay tuned for next week when we dive into part 2 of Seeing Results Faster, where I'll take you through in depth some of the key nutrition strategies, some very simple things that you can pay attention to help speed up your results when it comes to your healthy eating. It doesn't matter how you choose to practice your eating. I don't believe there's one perfect diet for everyone. I do think there are some key things to know about how your body works and how nutrients work in your body that will help you make better decisions and make them more consistently. So I really look forward to connecting with you again next week. Until then, I'm Betty Rocker, and you are so awesome and amazing. I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye for now.
This podcast is for information purposes only. Statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Brie Argetsinger, Betty Rocker Inc., and the producers disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. Before starting a new exercise, fitness or health protocol, or if you think you have a medical problem, always consult a licensed physician.